Fox News alert didn't see this coming. President Biden is finally agreeing to go to visit East Palestine, Ohio, 1 year after that toxic train derailment forced people from their homes and left the community in shambles.
Peter Ducey live at the White House. Peter, you broke the story. What's up?
Well, we don't know. And the question for President Biden today is, what took so long? The mayor of East Palestine told one of our White House producers, Pat Ward, earlier this month that his preference at this point, after a year, would be for President Biden, and this is a quote, he said the best time for him to come would be February of 2025 when he is on his book tour. And the mayor there, Trent Conaway, also said, we have heard nothing from the administration about a visit. He also said, I don't know what he would do here now. A couple months ago, while we were waiting for this announcement, we asked Karine Jean-Pierre about the holdup.
Just one more. The president said over the long weekend that he hasn't had the occasion to go to East Palestine. I just haven't been able to break. The derailment was on February 3rd.
The president will go to East Palestine. He promised that he would, and he will. You saw him.
So he was not on a break when he was in Lake Tahoe?
I will say this again. The president is going to go to East Palestine, as he has said that he is committed to do. You saw him.
Time since then, many trips to Delaware. There was a Christmas week in St. Croix. There was time at Camp David. But the flight to Cleveland, Ohio, which is less than an hour on Air Force One, was too much to take a break for the president until now. Again, we have no idea why this announcement is happening now, except for the fact that Ohio is a battleground state in the election year that we are now in. We also have some flashback sound from residents about the president visiting. We will have that shortly. But people were really, really mad at President Biden. And the administration gave us a whole list of stuff that he did. We know that he sent the transportation secretary, Pete Buttigieg, but that's not the same thing. And there are national tragedies all around the country that President Biden recognizes as painful to communities, as things that are hurting people that live in this country that he represents. And they send the president. It happens all the time, multiple times a month. It has not happened for East Palestine until now. The anniversary, the 1 year anniversary, is on Saturday. We don't know anything except the White House is just telling us he's going to go in February.
Yeah. So, Peter, you know, I know Democrats were calling for the president to go. Republicans were demanding that he goes. And then Donald Trump went. So were they trying to give it a little breathing room between Trump's appearance?
It's a lot of breathing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's a lot of breathing room, but the whole time, these people in East Palestine have been worried about breathing the air in their community. And so just at this point, and talking to people around here about this, it felt like, and this is my own personal reading of the situation, it felt like they were just going to skip it forever.
Yeah, well, Peter, Trump won Columbiana County, where East Palestine is located, by nearly 72% of the vote in the 2020 presidential election.
A very red county.
Yeah, so do you think that might be why President Biden hasn't gone yet? Which would be a shame, because when he was running as president in 2020, he said he would be a president for all people.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
I don't think it's specifically about that, but if it is political, and if later on this year there is going to be a Biden-Trump debate, it's going to be one less thing for Trump to say, like, I went to East Palestine and you didn't.
Right. Well, he could say, I went when it mattered, and you showed up a year later. The other thing is, a lot of people, Peter, I don't know what you could say about this, but say that Donald Trump became a legitimate candidate and got huge credibility when he showed up, when he did what he did best, found out, listened to people about what went wrong, and people stopped talking about the midterms and some of his candidates that fell short and start saying, man, he looked presidential. And by Joe Biden not showing up, it gave President Trump the ability to show up and do what he was doing 2 years before, and that's be president.
And don't take my word for it. We do have some sound from residents in East Palestine about this specifically.
Wow. Let's watch.
He's the leader of the free world. You want to feel like he's on the same team as you are. There's been no economic help for us. There's been no plan for our residents.
There definitely is some frustration, and I would say rightfully so.
I honestly feel he's the one that should be handcuffed. He's done nothing here. What would it take for him to visit Ohio?
Well, and it's been tough also listening to some of these folks. I remember there was another family that was interviewed at some point over the last 365 days who said they couldn't sell their house. They had been planning to sell their house. Nobody wanted to buy the house. Home values plummeted. People didn't feel safe. They don't know what's going to happen next, considering that these kind of chemicals might not make you sick right away.
Oh, that's so scary.
But they are going to hear from the president, and soon.
Yeah, and that guy in the backwards hat, I interviewed him a couple weeks ago. He's running for Congress now because he felt like there was such inaction on this issue that he was motivated to run for Congress and try and change some things. And he said on Christmas morning, he took a video of a stream right outside his house, and it was the most toxic that he's ever seen it over this past year. So the EPA went in and initially said that there was no toxic chemical spill. Everything is okay. He says that he's still experiencing that sludge.
Well, you know what? Let's hope Joe Biden goes and looks at that little creek.
Yep.
We'll see what happens. Peter, good job with the breaking news. And to your producer, Pat Ward, as well.
Thank you.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.